When a wrestler wins a title in WWE, it should be their aim to have the most memorable reign possible. This reign should be filled with great matches and compelling storylines, but it's not uncommon for a wrestler to have such a strong reign as champion that they ultimately enhance the prestige of that title. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers who actually elevated a title. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Number 10. RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team titles. When Randy Orton and Matt Riddle formed an unlikely partnership on WWE TV, fans were curious to see how the two would work together. Outside of the partnership with Edge's Rated RKO, Orton had never been known as a tag team wrestler, so this was something brand new for the WWE great, and to say it was refreshing would be an understatement. Orton and Riddle had tremendous chemistry in the ring, and seeing their bond grow over time was a complete joy to watch. When they eventually won the Raw Tag Team titles, all eyes were now on the titles, predominantly because Orton was now in the tag division, but also because RK Bro's matches as a duo were just that good. Matches featuring the talented duo would often main event episodes of Raw, and there was for once a ton of focus and spotlight on the tag division on the Raw brand. The era of RK Bro, which lasted from 2021 to 2022, was a great time for fans of tag team wrestling, and hopefully one day they'll look to revisit it. Number 9. Tommaso Ciampa, the NXT title. Tommaso Ciampa delivered some of the finest work of his entire career during his NXT title reign. Ciampa captured the title on NXT TV in 2018, and his entire character arc would now be shaped by winning the title. Ciampa became obsessed with the fact that he was champion. In every promo he would state that the NXT title is the most important title in wrestling, and he was actively calling it a world title, which just naturally made the NXT title appear even more prestigious. The NXT title was never in a bad place before Ciampa attained it, it was just that Ciampa took the status of the title to the next level. Ciampa's in-ring work during this reign was also acclaimed by many, as his matches with the likes of Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black were all outstanding and wouldn't have been out of place on a main roster pay-per-view event. Number 8. Neville, Cruiserweight title. Upon reintroducing the Cruiserweight title in 2016, WWE had a tough time in getting fans to care about the new title. It'd be showcased on Raw and 205 Live, but there was a lack of star power to generate any genuine interest. This would all change in late 2016 when one of the most talented stars on the roster, Neville, would turn heel and enter the Cruiserweight division. Neville's entire gimmick would change into a menacing, legitimate pro wrestler who was going to annihilate anyone in the ring. Neville would quickly capture the Cruiserweight title, and thanks to the way he conducted himself both inside and outside of the ring, the title finally had a champion that fans actually cared about. Neville would become the king of the Cruiserweights, and this reign and gimmick was so good that fans were pushing for Neville to be pulled into the main event scene on the main roster. Sadly, WWE had other ideas, and Neville eventually dropped the title to Enzo Amore, which would completely derail any goodwill they had developed with the fans when it came to their Cruiserweight division. Number 7. Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio, Intercontinental title. In 2009, WWE for the first time in what seemed like a decade gave the Intercontinental Championship a prominent feud. Two WWE icons in Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio would feud over the title. This was a standout feud of 2009, and the matches could have easily headlined pay-per-views. The Intercontinental title was previously known as the Workhorse title, and giving two talents such as Jericho and Mysterio the title to feud over did wonders for how the title was being perceived by the fanbase. The summer of 2009 was a golden period for the title, and every match the two had seemed to get better and better. Even JR, who was always known to be honest and open when it comes to his opinions on pro wrestling, would label the feud and matches as memorable art, which summed up the common consensus at the time. Number 6. Sasha Banks and Bayley, the women's tag titles. The pandemic era in WWE was a difficult time period, as WWE talent were forced to perform in front of zero fans. Whilst not the most joyous time period in WWE history, this era did showcase some of the talent in the company in their best manner possible. Banks and Bayley's work during this era was truly unbelievable. The two had undeniable chemistry as a tag team, and their matches with the likes of Asuka and Kairi Sane were marvelous. The two would hold the women's tag titles during this era, and this was perhaps the only time since the inception of the titles that they had felt prestigious. Banks and Bayley carried themselves like world champions and often referenced how important being tag champions was to their respective careers. It was fine work from Banks and Bayley, and fans will look back on this era in years to come and realize that they were two of the MVPs of the infamous era. Number 5. Mark Henry, the World Title. The World Title, aka Big Goldie, has had a bizarre history in WWE. Whilst champions such as Triple H, Edge and CM Punk all had incredible reigns, there were also a fair share of lackluster champions. Champions such as Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio made the title look inferior, and over time, the World Title was seen as a step below the WWE Championship. Thankfully, in 2011, one individual emerged and had a unique yet compelling reign as World Champion. Following turning heel, Mark Henry introduced fans to the Hall of Pain. Henry became meaner, grittier, and he was taking no prisoners. Henry had put it all together with this character. His in-ring work was better than ever, but his promo and character work was where he truly shined. Henry won the world title at the Night of Champions pay-per-view, and although his reign only lasted a few months, the world title was in a fantastic place with Henry holding the gold. The world champion was now credible, legitimate, and virtually unstoppable. It was exactly what the WWE needed at the time. Number 4. Gunther, Intercontinental Title. Upon debuting on the main roster in 2022, fans were skeptical in relation to how Gunther would be used. He was one of the best workers in the entire world, but would WWE realize this? Would they use Gunther in the right manner? While they would quickly win the Intercontinental Championship, and his ongoing reign has been even better than fans expected. Gunther has been presented as one of the most unstoppable wrestlers in the modern era and is yet to be pinned or submitted on the main roster. As reigning champion, Gunther has had banger after banger, and he's had classic matches with the likes of Sheamus and Ricochet, and the title hasn't been used in such a prosperous position in a very long time. Number 3. AJ Styles, WWE Title. Jinder Mahal's WWE title reign in 2017 was a disaster. Mahal simply wasn't main event material, and his reign put a huge question mark surrounding the credibility of WWE's top prize. They would rectify this by putting the title on AJ Styles. This was a welcome move as Styles was one of the best in the company and he was super popular as a babyface. He would have feuds with the likes of Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura, and this allowed the title to be in a positive light once again. Some fans may argue that putting the title on anyone following Mahal's reign would have worked, but the reality is that it needed someone that was an established main event level attraction, and AJ was the perfect guy for the job. Number 2. The Miz, Intercontinental Title. When The Miz won the Intercontinental title on Raw after WrestleMania 32, fan disappointment related to Zack Ryder's brief run with the title quickly faded, as Miz took the title to new heights. Over the next few months, Miz would do everything he could both on and off screen to make the title mean something. Following the 2016 draft, The Miz would have a truly outstanding feud with Dolph Ziggler, which successfully repositioned the title as a valuable and desirable championship. Miz, despite being a heel, would consistently cut thrilling promos related to the importance of the title. According to The Miz himself, during an interview on Booker T's podcast, he wanted to rebuild the prestige of the title with his acclaimed 2016 reign. And number 1, John Cena, the US title. WrestleMania 31 saw John Cena capture the US title by defeating Rusev. What followed was arguably the finest 147 days of Cena's iconic career. Cena would introduce fans to the US title open challenge, and every week Cena would face someone on the roster for the US title. This produced classic matches with the likes of Sami Zayn and Cesaro. Cena was delivering a level of in-ring work that fans had never seen from him before. This was all whilst holding a title that hadn't been given this level of spotlight since Eddie Guerrero held the title in 2003. Cena was everything the US title needed at the time, and let's face it, the title will unlikely ever be as prestigious or celebrated as it was during Cena's 147-day reign back in 2015. But there you have it folks, 10 WWE wrestlers who actually elevated a title. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.